So the other day I was giving a 2-hour massage from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. I do a lot of sleep processing when I give massages. And I remember when I first became a massage therapist, it was like winning the lottery because I have this really overgrown double masculine sleep that I'm addicted to. And suddenly I have a career where I'm in a quiet, dimly lit, very relaxing room and I'm just like introspecting and sleep processing while I'm working. So you can imagine like 19 years of 60, 90, and 120-minute sessions, and I'm just like sleep processing a lot during that time and being paid to do it. Yeah, I'm very suited to it. Maybe I'm going all in on my saviors, but it just works out with my functions that I have a lot of time to sleep process just built into my day. So anyway, the massage was going to end at 4:30. I didn't have any sessions afterwards, no other appointments that evening. And 4:30, about 4:30 to 7, that's a really tricky time of day for me because if I don't have any appointments, then I might want to have a drink. You know, it's just like a free evening. A good way to wind down, having a drink, relaxing. There are many ways to relax. Drinking's just like super quick and efficient. I mean, it's not the best choice in the long run, but it sure does get the job done quick. So I was in the last 30 minutes of the massage and kind of glanced over at the clock and I thought, wow, after this, a drink sure does sound nice. And then I immediately thought, wait a minute, I don't want to drink. The drinker wants a drink. The rational part of me does not want to drink at all. When I really think about it, drinking is quite irrational. But there's this animalistic, hedonistic part of me that wants a drink. So I'm ambivalent. I'm of two minds about this. I don't want to drink. I do want to drink. So I was repeating that in my head. The drinker wants a drink. Just thinking about that concept. And I thought, that's cool. That's useful. That's a cool way to think about it. And that's just metacognition. Humans have the ability to think about their own thought processes. It can be really useful in a lot of ways. And once you're aware of metacognition, then you do it more. So the more you do it, the more you do it. And I think because of my double masculine sleep, I started being aware of metacognition early and often, at a very young age. And so I do it a lot. It's a huge part of sleep processing. So cool. The drinker wants a drink. So then I thought the drinker needs a name. So I could just call it the drinker, but I could call it anything. What's a good name for the drinker? And then, immediately I'm like, Trixie. Trixie's a great name for the drinker because she's full of tricks. She's very manipulative. And I thought this was just, a cool and useful way to think about that ambivalence. And I totally thought it was an original idea. But then the next day I was, studying, I came across something. This is a thing. Of course, it was not an original idea. I mean, it's pretty obvious, Many people have come to this conclusion. But there's something called AVRT, Addictive Voice Recognition Technique. So not only is AVRT a thing, but many, many people name their addictive voice Trixie because it's pretty obvious. But you can name it anything. You could name it the drinker, Goblin, Frank, Jessica, whatever you want to name it. So AVRT is really simple. You think or say with as much sincerity as you can muster, I will not drink again and I will not change my mind. And then you just wait and you listen for the objections that come up. And everybody's drinker has different tactics, and so the objections are gonna, sound different depending on who you are. But some of mine would be like, it's such a sunny day. Isn't it lovely? Why don't we sit in the garden and have a drink? Or, we worked really hard this week. Let's have a drink. You notice the we? The addictive voice is often using that we. And I think it's just indicating that ambivalence. Like, we're in this together. We're a team. Let's have a drink. Trixie trying to get all buddy-buddy with my rational mind using manipulative tactics. Well, here's a good one. Let's have a drink today because we can always quit tomorrow. And so all of those objections come from the addictive voice. And by observing this and getting really familiar with the tactics and the sound of that addictive voice, you can start to dismantle all of those manipulative tactics. So Trixie is paraplegic. I'm interrupting this program to let you know that I actually meant quadriplegic. Although I said paraplegic, for this metaphor to work, Trixie needs to be a quadriplegic. She can't move her legs or arms. She can only use manipulative tactics. So she has to convince me to get up, walk to the counter, pick up the bottle, open the bottle, pour some whiskey in a glass, bring the glass up to my lips. She has no power to do that on her own. So she has to manipulate me to get me to do those things. So once you really start to see through all the tactics, they just don't have as much power. The rational mind can dismantle these tactics. So if we look at it's sunny outside. Wouldn't it be nice to sit in the garden and have a drink? Then that becomes, oh, so it's sunny outside. Yeah, it's a really nice day. So we should drink poison? Really? Does that make sense? That's pretty fucking crazy. It's a nice day, so we should sit in the garden and drink poison? It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the same thing with, we worked really hard this week. We worked really hard this week is not a reason, not a legitimate reason to drink poison. And this one's really good. We should have a drink today because we can always quit tomorrow. Right. How convenient for you, Trixie. So you get a drink today, and it's always today and it's never tomorrow. It's very convenient for you. So yeah, everyone's inner drinker, is going to use different tactics, all kinds of stuff. You're a piece of shit, so you might as well drink, or, your dog died, so you might as well drink, or life is really hard. Everybody has, a different kind of dialogue in their head. So a central tenet of AA is that an alcoholic is a person who is powerless over alcohol. And in fact, that's the first step, is admitting that you're powerless over alcohol. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, fuck that shit. That's so disempowering, and it's not true. I am not powerless against alcohol. And like nothing against AA, if that resonates with you and that approach works, then go for it. If it works, it works. It's great. But there's just a lot of things about AA. I mean, I've never been to an AA meeting, but just like reading about the philosophy, it just feels really bullshit to me, and it feels disempowering. If it works for you, great. But there is a potential for that belief, I am powerless against alcohol, to be used against you by the inner drinker. So the drinker might say, well, you're an alcoholic. You're powerless against alcohol. So just go ahead and have a drink. You're powerless against it, so you might as well just give in. So even that can be, turned and used as a weapon against the rational mind by the drinker. So AVRT is it's a different tactic that makes more sense to me and comes from a school of thought called rational recovery, which just resonates with me more. I think that was born out of rational emotive therapy, Albert Ellis. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do all that research, but yeah, feel free to Google it. But it makes a whole lot more sense to me, the rational recovery approach, and it feels more empowering. So here's a really funny, scary thing that happened. So it was the day that I discovered this rational recovery and this AVRT technique. It was the end of the day, and I was in bed just kind of drifting off to sleep, and I was just reviewing the concepts that I had learned that day. And I was thinking, what was it? What was the phrase? I will never drink again, and I will not change my mind. And then I was just repeating that in my mind again. I will never drink again, and I will not change my mind. And I'm like drifting off to sleep, almost falling asleep. And then I hear the voice inside my head say, I will never quit drinking, and I will never change my mind. And that woke me up, because I was like, whoa, that's not the phrase. That's not the phrase at all. And it was just this moment, like, that is how manipulative this drinking voice can be, this addictive voice. Just catching me in that impressionable liminal state between consciousness and sleep. Just decided to sneak that in, to just turn the phrase around and sneak it in on me. Like, oh, isn't that creepy? It's so creepy. So anyway, that's what I've been thinking about this week. Yeah, I think that's it.